We started off as Titans, and now we're the Jets. The start of every season always starts with the sweats. Vinny T, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, what's the deal? Don't even try to tell me that the curse ain't real. We're coming for you, better run and hide. Snowball and Johnny boys, Jets worldwide. Why, yeah, boy. Like and subscribe. Fitzpatrick, the end of every season is always tragic. Doug Bryan missed, everybody got pissed. 2 Super Bowl seasons ended with just one twist. 15 years without the playoffs. Is Aaron Glenn legit? We're the freaking New York Jets, and we're built for this shit. We're coming for you, better run and hide. Snowball and Johnny boys, Jets worldwide. Like and subscribe.
I love that song, man. It should like get you ready. It's Friday night. You know what time it is, man. We've been going kind of hard. I'm not even gonna front. I feel like we've done like 50 billion other shows right now, and yeah,
yes, this has been a busy week.
We're on the grind. You over here packing. I'm pretty sure he's packing his suitcase with his feet underneath his desk and everything. So
yeah, we're getting out of here. I'm escaping the cold. I'm getting the hell out of New York. I'm headed over to Hawaii tomorrow morning. So Johnny, I'm telling you right now, I can only do a short show, and then I got to pack and go to sleep. So I'm up at 4 in the morning. I can't go to sleep. Can't go to sleep late tonight. So I'm glad that everyone is in the chat. Let's recognize these people who are here. Like Bill M is always like one of the first people. Dane from the Danger Zone is here. We got Chris B. We got Dylan Tereman.
Oh snap!
He's in the chat.
Hell yeah!
Blessed. Our hype man on TikTok, Mike D's Nuts, is here.
Shout out to Mike D, baby.
Right? Greg Rollo is in the building. Yeah, and more people are coming in as we speak. So thank you guys for checking in. We are on the road to 500 subs. We are so close, Johnny. We're every day getting closer and closer. So we have to thank the people who are in the chat. M. Villette is here as well. So
M. Villette.
Yeah, so like, got to thank you guys for supporting the channel. Really appreciate it. We wouldn't be where we are without you.
And I'd like to give another special thanks to our guy Keith McPherson for coming through and show us some love, as well as our friend of the show itself on Antoine Staley. Dude, Antoine Staley was giving us some nuggets. Keith was giving us some nuggets. I mean, it went by that quick, and I couldn't believe it. But the knowledge that these guys have, I honestly thought we were about to break some breaking news and we're about to go viral and everything when he was like, DJ Reed. No, I meant Reader. I was like, yo, Snowball, we got to put this out like right now.
Yeah, for those of you who did not watch the show, watch the Antoine Staley show, because when he says we're going to bring DJ Reed back to the Jets, I was like, what? And it turned out to be DJ Reader. So,
I mean, we were getting ready to pump out Reunited, the whole nine and everything. So
exactly.
But I think we need to do it, right? I think we need to do it. I mean, look, this guy is the dude that is giving you constant content when it comes to draft, the different types of schemes that are out there within the football and how can they potentially fit the players. And he also breaks it down for a way that like a simple individual like myself doesn't always understand, but he breaks it down for me in simple terms, and I appreciate it. You guys know him. He does his own thing. It's the Dylan Tereman experience, but the host from there, the host with the most, our guy, our friend of the show, our guy DT. What's going on, brother?
Johnny Snowball, what's up, guys? I appreciate you having me on. And somebody in the chat said it's criminal. You guys are not at 500. I would echo that sentiment. The fact that you guys aren't there, despite all the great work you guys do, it's coming, and we're gonna get you guys there, and I'm happy to be part of it.
We're slow growers, so don't take that the wrong way. But maybe Johnny's a fast grower, but like we're slow, organic from the one show a week. What more can we ask? Sometimes we take weeks off, but we're slowly grinding out. So we'll get there. No problem.
And we got different types of like we're different little special guest appearances for Jets for a Wide. Like we just got a little bit of a slot with our guy, Mr. BG, Boy Green Daily in the morning. So we're actually coming on the weekends, either Saturday or Sunday. And so that's been pretty awesome. I mean, we got in the only, like, I'm not going to say an argument because it wasn't an argument, but we had a really good civil conversation amongst fans about how we feel about the Jets. It was it got loud. Okay. I'm not even going to front. And but it was fun, so.
It's good spirited. Yeah.
100%. Yes. So what's been going on with you, DT? What's the word? What you got going on? I heard you about to be at 2K. Like,
yes. Yeah, we're grinding away. We're almost at 1,600 on the road to 2K, as you see down in the bottom. And first weekend without football, and I'm on like a DT World Tour. Obviously, I have my Jake PM show with him yesterday, which was 2.5 hours of absolute craziness. I'm obviously joining you guys tonight. Tomorrow morning, I'm going across the pond with our guy Gus to do the Atlantic Flight podcast with him and the boys. I will have a special guest on my own podcast in the Jets content creator space. I'm kind of saving it as like a little mystery tease. And then Sunday morning, I'm doing back-to-back. You guys are on BG tomorrow. I'm on BG in the morning on Sunday. And then I have Nick Shine at 8 p.m. on Sunday night where we are doing some kind of mock draft extravaganza. So we're on a bit of a DT world tour, but it's all in good fun. We're trying to push for 1,600 and then obviously to get to 2K, but it's been a grind. Even though the season just ended officially, it feels like we've been in this off-season mode for 2-ish months now, but we're finally seeing the pieces, and it's great to put out content with a little bit more optimism in my voice.
Oh, optimism. That's something we haven't heard in a while.
Yes, with this smile comes optimism.
Speaking of optimism, our biggest optimist, Jake Asman, is in the chat. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Asman. Everyone subscribe so I can start sending this channel super chats and gift memberships. So follow Jake's lead and please do so. Simon says, Jake says, so do what Jake says.
Hey, word on the street is that my understanding is Jake is coming on the Jets World Wide show soon. So look out for that. How is that gonna occur? I don't know, because I mean we're the AG guys. We like AG, I mean, Jake has been pounding the table for get that guy out, but look, I got respect for him in the sense that he is sticking to his AG. What has he done for you? So, shout him out on that. But shout out to everybody, dude. This has been awesome, man. Snowball, I'm sorry.
No. I think Jake's starting to see the light on the AG side. So, he's coming over. He'll join us. He'll join us.
He's got to keep doing podcasts with me, and eventually my optimism will hopefully, through like a transitive property of some sort, will get to Jake.
There you go.
I mean, how can you not though, right? You get, first off, shout out Jake on those amazing interviews that he got over there. One of the interviews that I don't think is getting enough love is the AD Mitchell interview.
100%.
That AD Mitchell interview was amazing, okay? But the one that was like everywhere, that was between him and Richie, was that Harrison Phillips one, right?
Yeah.
Like, and him saying, yo, bro, these dudes inherited a crap show, and he's been trying to do the best that he can. Like, what does that tell you? And maybe that gave some light for him, but they asked him later on and he was like, yo, you still not about AG. So you damn right. I'm still not about AG. That dude was historically bad. So I was like, hey. But you know what? Let's get into it. Let's talk. I think it's a good segue to start talking about some of the moves that the New York Jets have done. And with that being said, I'm going to give it up to my guy Snow Bizzle. He's putting these graphics up, trying to get them up here as well. So he'll talk a little bit about it.
What are we going to talk about? You want to do offense or defense first?
Look, I'm all about that. So let's go offense.
All right, we can talk about the offensive hires that have just happened. So, any opinions? I mean, there is like a Stanford contingency in here. So, Dylan, what do you? Right?
There is. I think there's 3. Right?
Yeah.
Merkel comes from
Netter.
Stanford. Yep, Netter, and then obviously
Sargent. Right?
Oh, and Sargent too, or is it Merkel, Sargent, and Reich? I know there's 3.
Well, I mean, Reich is.
Are there 4?
I thought Merkel, Netter, and Sargent from this group were.
Wow, Al Netter came from there too. I must have. Yeah, you're right. Al Netter. There's 4. There's 4. Yeah, you're 100% right. I thought there was 3 including Reich, but there's 3 excluding Reich. So that's even crazier. Yeah. So I guess I'll start from the top down. Frank Reich, obviously, we don't know if it's a 1-to-1 upgrade over Tanner Engstrand. But how I've been kind of phrasing it is Reich plus Musgrave, or even Reich plus Seth Ryan, who is the pass game coordinator, which is what Tanner Engstrand would have been, in my opinion, is an upgrade over Engstrand and Scott Turner, our previous pass game coordinator, who eventually said that he hates the Jets, which is fine. You have your opinions on social media. So I would say that Reich and Ryan are an upgrade over Engstrand and Turner. So right there, you have a net positive. Bill Musgrave coming from Charles London, like that is the 180 of all 180s. Like we have, I can't understate. I mean, I love Bill Musgrave just from the resume perspective. And I did a video on, I think I put it out on New Year's Eve. And I said Bill Musgrave would be the perfect Jets hire for a quarterbacks coach because he comes with so much experience that it doesn't matter whether it's a rookie, a struggling young player, a grizzled veteran. Like you will be able to find a semblance of Bill Musgrave having success with those types of people. So I would say Bill Musgrave over Charles London. Obviously, we kept Steve Hyden. So Steve Hyden is a net positive as a holdover because I really liked what Steve Hyden did with the Jets offensive line. I know they had most of the pieces in place from last year or from 2 years ago to last year, but the coaching upgrade from Keith Carter to Steve Hyden is about as big of a gap as like the Bill Musgrave to Charles London. Like we really went to the other end of the spectrum with that coaching hire. So all in all, I really like it. And then the tertiary hires like Al Netter as an offensive assistant, offensive line assistant, that's okay. Coming from a background working with Reich, it seems like all the lower position guys like assistant quarterback, offensive assistant, O-line assistant, those are all good and fine for Frank Reich to bring in. I would have been more judgmental if it was like, no, all of my top positional coaches have to be my guys from Stanford. He got like the B tier coaches to come over from Stanford. And then Alfredo Roberts, 22 years of coaching experience, played tight end in the league. He was obviously just with the Pittsburgh Steelers and he had a ton of great talent there. It was like Freiermuth, Darnell Washington. They had Jonnu Smith for a little bit. So I actually like on paper what this offensive staff looks like compared to last year. Maybe they could have upgraded a running backs coach. They obviously were going to keep Sean Jefferson. Apparently, Garrett Wilson really likes him, so there's maybe some influence there. But keeping Steve Hyden on staff, even though Tanner Engstrand left, it made me nervous because like Tanner came from the Detroit system. I was like, well, Hyden came from there too. Maybe they both just want to leave. But the fact that Frank Reich came in was apparently really excited about Steve Hyden, according to his friend Boomer Esiason. And it's like, yes, I want to mesh Hyden, Reich, Seth Ryan, and try to emulate that Ben Johnson thing all over again. And I'm never going to be mad at this team trying to emulate good teams, right? You have to do it in the draft. You have to do it when team building overall. But that also comes with putting your coaching staff hires together. So on paper, I really like it. I honestly like it more than the Giants offensive coaching staff. Like give me Reich and Bill Musgrave and Steve Hyden over Matt Nagy, Brian Callahan, and I think his name is like Brian Bloomgren or something like that. Like whoever their O-line coach is, like he didn't have like the best resume. So I actually like what the Jets are doing on paper. Obviously, the results are TBD, and that's what we'll get into next is the players that fit these. But I am all in on this offensive staff, even though I was very out on it at first.
I think you kind of hit it too with the Alfredo Roberts. I don't think it's getting enough of a talk too, because for me, when I saw that, I was like, okay, that's awesome. It's a tight ends coach that's coming from the Steelers. The Steelers, I've always felt like their tight end rooms were always good, regardless, right? I was one of the guys that was like, please get Darnell Washington, Jets. Please get Darnell Washington when he was coming out. But this guy has coached, Pat Darnell Washington, Dwayne Allen, Kobe Fleener. I don't know if you guys remember them, but they were rocking with the Colts. And I believe they were like, they got some history from the NFL as the first two tight ends to get 8+ touchdowns apiece. Coached up Austin Eckler. Dude, you know who
Did
else?
you say Jack Doyle?
I haven't said Jack
You guys
Doyle.
remember Jack Doyle? Like,
and Kellen Winslow.
wow.
The second.
Wow.
It's look, he could develop them. Who's gonna probably like enjoy that? Mason Taylor and Jeremy Ruckert. I mean, these are the guys that could look at this. This is a room that I think a lot of us has been saying for a very long time that we want the tight end room to start to truly develop, because they're game changers, man. That role forever and a day was always just straight blocking. But now it's a huge weapon that I think the Jets have been underutilizing for a very, very long time. I think it's the great mix between old and young, right? Young enough that could get you those brand new types of schemes that are out there for the offense, but old enough and mature enough to still keep you in track and put you in a position to potentially succeed. So I'm excited about that. But I do have a question from our guy, Jet71. First and foremost, shout him out, man. Thank you for coming on to the show. We had some good convos with him before in the past. So, but he says overall, they've added 2 Super Bowl winning players, coaches to the offensive staff. How is it a bad thing? AG should get credit for that. No?
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is the time where it is acceptable to give AG credit and not get yelled at by, I don't want to call them necessarily like the doomers, but like the more negative side of the fan base, which it feels like no matter what Aaron Glenn does, it's not going to be enough for some of those people. And most of those people are rooted on Twitter and they don't really show their name or face. And it's like some like version of Derek Carr as their profile picture, and they're just poo-pooing everything the Jets do. But you have to give credit where it's due. I mean, I wasn't a fan of going from Engstrand the way it kind of unfolded, trying to demote him and then him just flat out asking to leave because he could have just been a pass game coordinator in a less toxic situation. And he ended up going to Atlanta, which I think is a little less toxic. So the process by which they did the coaching stuff kind of peeved me, but like at the end, looking at the results, I'm okay with it, right? Like kind of bad process, possibly right result. Whereas last year, if this was the coaching staff last year, guys, I think a lot of people would really like it. They went with a lot of the first timers last year, and then they went old on Aaron Glenn's side of the ball, which I didn't really love, but I didn't hate it at the same time. I understood the Steve Wilks thing. Now they're trying to get the head coach of the offense, mixing that blend of, 60-plus-year-old Frank Reich with a 31-year-old Seth Ryan, and then Bill Musgrave is 58, and you have like Alfredo Roberts, who's kind of up there in age, but like he's still relatively young and can relate to players. And then obviously all the Stanford guys are relatively young. I think Sargent's in his mid-30s. So you have a really good blend. My biggest critique of this specific staff, because I was very critical of Tanner Engstrand doing this all the way as far as like week 2 against Buffalo, when you are getting punched in the mouth in the first quarter of the game and the early part of the second quarter, how does Frank Reich adapt? Because it really felt like Tanner Engstrand was never able to get up off the mat. And it felt like starting in that week 2 game against Buffalo, it trickled down to the players on the field. And there was a tweet I remember from, I believe it was somebody in the stands, or it might have been a beat reporter, where they were down so bad in that Buffalo game, and Justin Fields was moping on the sidelines, and Garrett Wilson was trying to rally the troops, like, come on, we're still in this, we can do this. And like Justin, obviously, I know he got the concussion, but like he was just blanked. And I think it was actually before the concussion even happened. Like he was just staring off into space. Like he didn't really care to come back and win. And that's on coaching too. So hopefully the coaching staff can put these guys in a much better position to win. And that's going to show on the field as a result of their play.
I mean, okay. Well, with Tanner, you know how I felt about Tanner for a while now. And that's what bothered me the most about him was the in-game adjustments.
Yeah.
It just was never there.
Yeah. And the situational stuff. Yeah.
And the situational things just didn't happen. Like once it occurred, it was just this, like, he kept flipping over that laminated freaking card that he had, right? Just flipping it over constantly, trying to figure it out, you know? And
he was never a play ahead, which you have to be on offense.
And exactly. So like, it's I don't know, man. I'm glad he's gone. I'm glad that they brought in Frank. You know, the Bill Musgrave, I think, is probably other than Frank, out of all of these picks, I think it's the biggest one because I feel like the development of a quarterback could potentially be there because he's done it before. And the one that I do want to talk about a little bit with you is Seth Ryan. Okay. Now I know a lot of people have it as that nostalgic pickup, right? The 3 generations of Ryans now, you know, every time we've had a Ryan in there, the organization has succeeded, et cetera, et cetera. But he's no slouch. And like, let's have a conversation about that. Cause dude, Armand St. Brown came out before like Seth Ryan was picked up by the Jets or anything like that. And he gave a lot of credit to his success as a wide receiver and the way he developed as a wide receiver to Seth Ryan. Constantly kept talking about it too. And I feel like that's not being talked about enough. So I'm like, damn, imagine Seth Ryan could do that with A.D. Mitchell, right? And can really unlock A.D. Mitchell. Imagine what he could do with Arian Smith, because we've all said Arian Smith is fast. But again, he wasn't put in the correct positions. I mean, there were stats that were out there that were saying that the New York Jets and their wide receiving, you know, room itself had the most separation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, or whatever. I always thought it was just the offense was so bad that the defense was like, dude, you could go behind me all you want. I really don't care because there's not a quarterback that you guys have is going to be able to get the ball to you. But the Seth Ryan pick, your thoughts?
Yeah, I really like it. And not only Amon-Ra shouted him out, but Ben Johnson shouted him out. And this is when he was still 29 years old. And he shouted him out and said that Seth was a driving force behind some of their play designs and most of their like creative plays, like their trick play packages and things like that. So that is the quintessential pairing for a guy like Frank Reich. I remember I did a video kind of like killing the Wink Martindale potential and the Frank Reich potential. And I'm sorry, Snowball, cover your ears, but I said Aaron Glenn was digging for fossils. And he got one of the fossils in Frank Reich, but he pairs him up with this new innovative mind in Seth Ryan, where it would have been Tanner Engstrand. This was going to be Tanner Engstrand's role as the pass game coordinator. But now it's Seth Ryan, which, again, it's from that same tree of Ben Johnson. So perhaps the offensive passing concepts aren't going to change a whole bunch, and the wide receivers are still going to have a pretty seamless transition into this offense. And yeah, you talked about the tight ends earlier. Can we invigorate some passing into this tight end group? I know Mason Taylor ended on the injury reserve, but he had under 400 yards in his rookie year when it felt like he could have had, you know, maybe 500 or 600 if he stayed healthy and they actually featured him, or Justin Fields was able to pull the trigger and throw him the ball. So it's really going to be a good blend of Reich with the old guard and Musgrave with the old guard, and then Seth Ryan as like that new innovative mind. And hopefully whatever product they put out in terms of game planning, again, is adaptive and also innovative. And I would love another donut. I don't know where this comes from. Do I look fat, Jake? Is that Is he killing me because I look fat?
So you do not look fat. Nowhere near fat, bro. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Thanks, Jake.
Hey, but your thoughts, Snowball. Like, what did you think when you saw this? I mean,
you know what? I thought it was a nice blend. I appreciate the fact that they're trying to bring in some young, innovative minds into the offense, and to have the balance with Reich. I really am I like it. Looking forward to it. Another Dom C donut.
Oh, the Dom C donuts. Oh, Dom C bought like 2 dozen donuts for us in Mobile, and it felt like every time I walked past Jake, he had a donut in his mouth.
Well, hopefully we can change the donuts into interceptions, right? Because that's what we had.
We had a donut in the interception column.
That was a zero interception celebration, box of donuts. But yeah, I do like the hire. Seth Ryan, you know, when I first heard about it, I was like, man, that seems like it's a big risk, right? It seemed like it was pretty risky for that elevation from what he was doing in Detroit to become the pass game coordinator for the Jets. But you know, the more I hear about him, the more I read about him, the more positive I am, and the more like accolades that people are saying about him. It gives me hope. And again, to have the guidance of Frank Reich with him, you know, is good. Musgrave, I was very happy about. I really did, you know, because his experience. The only problem with Bill Musgrave is that he doesn't have a quarterback to actually coach. So, you know, that's what I'm really worried about. But we will find a quarterback for the Jets somewhere. I mean, we do have Zappy, and we is Hooker with us still?
I think he has to be re-signed. I forget. I know Jake interviewed him at Media Row, but I do think there is like a potential that he's back. He said he wants to be back.
All right. So you got 2. Maybe Musgrave can, you know, perform a miracle or something. Who knows? Who knows?
So we got a Zappy and a Hooker.
Right.
Got it.
Hey. It sounds like where the Hooker performs. Anyway.
Look, but there's one. I think there's one quarterback that's out there. I think it's going to be a hard get because I am probably on the board with a lot of people that I do not want to give up capital to get a quarterback. But this player has the ties to Frank, has some ties with AG already, has the ties with, I guess, Bill Parcells, and Bill Parcells has known him since he was a little kid. He's, you know, essentially tried to get him ready for the NFL, get him ready for the position, but he's plays for the Cardinals right now, I believe. And right, he went against us a while back, you know, but Jacoby Brissett, he fits the scheme of Frank, right? He's over the 6'3". I mean, not bad, right? I mean, we would kill for those numbers.
Yeah, no, we could pull the string and say the line. Jacoby Brissett would be a top 5 quarterback in Jets history immediately upon signing without having to play a game, which, I mean, the bar is just so low that unfortunately that's the case. 33 years old, you will have to trade for him. My only counterpoint to Jacoby Brissett, if he was a free agent, 100%. The fact that you have to trade for him makes me worried because, one, what does the trade package look like? Like, is it a day 3 pick? Like, is it a pick 103 or is it maybe pick 175? That's, you know, I would probably hope that you can get him for pick 175. The other thing is Mike LaFleur, with all the things that he went through with the Jets, right? Not having a quarterback with Zach Wilson, and anytime it was a non-Zach Wilson quarterback, he was like play caller of the month, and we're going for 400 yards. Is he going to hamstring himself as a head coach to get rid of Jacoby Brissett, to get rid of a Kyler Murray, and start completely fresh at quarterback? Or is he just going to say, hey, I can do what the Jets are trying to do right now and just keep Jacoby? So if it came down to he was available for a 4th or 5th round pick, I am all in on Jacoby Brissett because there are a ton of other names that maybe I would not, maybe there's a couple names that I would like better than Jacoby Brissett, but there's a ton of names that I would like a lot less than Jacoby Brissett. So a 5th round pick to secure your veteran bridge option, and then hopefully you have a rookie within the next year or 2 within the next 2 drafts to get, groomed behind him, then yeah, I'm totally in on Jacoby Brissett.
Who's the better talent though? Okay, Brissett or Murray?
I think it's still got to be Murray because of the age and the upside. If you're just looking for a floor, then it's probably Jacoby Brissett, right? Kyler Murray has a lower floor but a higher ceiling, whereas Jacoby Brissett is a very high floor but a probably low ceiling, right? Like the range of outcomes with Jacoby Brissett is probably this, and then the range of outcomes with Kyler Murray is probably this. So it's going to be interesting to see how Mike handles that. And if he does just go with a clean, fresh start at quarterback, I mean, they have the 3rd overall pick in a really weak quarterback draft, but say they just go somewhere else and they find a guy like they ball out for Malik Willis in free agency, then maybe you don't need Jacoby Brissett and you can, give him away for a 5th round pick and the Jets can, take advantage of that situation.
Now, let me ask you this. With his record, I believe his record, he has a losing record, right? Since being a starter. Last year, I think same situation itself. Does that come into play with you at all? Or is it that he's just been a backup for so long that he's always been in these positions where it's been bad for him? And it's just he's fallen into bad luck at these different stops that he's had.
It's got to be a little bit of both. I mean, the numbers are the numbers in terms of his stats, 3,300 yards, a really good pass touchdown to interception ratio. I don't have his fumble numbers ahead of me or in front of me, but he did take 43 sacks, which is the 2nd most in his entire career. But it's also like up there with some of the most games he's played. The thing that scares me, and I don't like to look at it strictly from this angle because wins to me is not just a quarterback stat, but he was 1-11 in 25 as a starter, and he was 1-4 in 24 as a starter. And then he didn't start games in 2023. So over the last 3 seasons of starting play, he's 2-15. So is he the perfect March for Arch quarterback like everybody is leaning into now, like on social media, right? Everybody wants to just throw away this season. And I'm not with that at all. But I'm not saying Jacoby Brissett will do that for the Jets. You have to look at the record and the stats as 2 separate entities with them. And I would say that it's probably a little bit of both. His circumstances not being ideal, but again, he took over for Kyler Murray in week 6. So like he had plenty of time throughout the season to like get the Cardinals 2, 3, 4 wins, and they ended 1-11. So it's not entirely his fault, but it has to bake into the equation.
100%. And look, and I'm going to say it here right now, this is a Jets Worldwide exclusive. F Arch Manning. I do not want that dude as a New York Jet. People could say whatever, they could kill me all they want and everything, but that's just my thoughts. I don't want anything to do with that Manning family, bro. They've put nothing but straight dirt on the Jets. They're as bad as Brady, so to me and in my eyes. But with that being said, I think this is a perfect segue to go into the other hires that came along right now. And shout out to Jake because he's over here trying to send me a shirt, bro. But so we got some defensive hires, right? And I when all of this was happening, the one person that I wanted to ask about this one person because of the ties that he has in Houston was Jake, and it was about Ben Bowling, right? To ask him about him and his thoughts and everything. But we get Colin, Ben, Ronald, and Ryan.
So Ben Bowling to me was the best hire of these 4. We'll talk about Carl Dunbar first because he was the previous hire that we knew prior to this being put out. Carl Dunbar is the best hire on defense, bar none. He will transform, like the change from Charles London to Bill Musgrave is very similar to the change from Eric Washington to Carl Dunbar. And the players did not like Eric Washington, our former defensive lines coach. So getting anybody in there was probably going to fall into an upgrade, right? You're going to upgrade by accident from Eric Washington. But to go full opposite end and go Carl Dunbar, yeah, I'm totally down with this. The last time he was here was the Sons of Anarchy with Richardson, Wilkerson, Harrison, and then they obviously added Quentin Coples. And then he went on to Pittsburgh and he just did even better things with TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, and then obviously Alex Highsmith. And then I think Nate Herbig, or is it Nate Herbig? Yeah, Nate Herbig sprinkled in a little bit. So I like him the most as the defensive hire. And then Ben Bowling from Houston. Just look at the talent that they had in Houston last year. And like, maybe, that's somebody will use that as a negative against him. But you also got guys like Henry To'oTo'o, EJ Speed, Christian Harris, two Alabama guys, which perhaps maybe Deontay Lawson for the Jets if they're going with the Alabama pipeline of linebackers. But Ben Bowling is like the perfect. He's 32. He's from an elite defensive staff in Houston under DeMeco Ryans, where that is their bread and butter, is their front seven, their defense. And I couldn't be happier with this hire. And I get it's like that infusion of young talent as well. Like AG is what I think 54, 55. So you have like 55 and then you have 32. Like those can meet in the middle, and you have old guard and innovative kind of coming together again. And then Ryan Slowick, obviously the brother of Bobby Slowick, he's coaching safeties. He's going to have a wealth of offensive knowledge too because of his brother. Like they're helping each other as coaches. So I think it's a really good hire. Again, that's all on paper, so we have to see, and it's all TBD results based. But I think if this was the exact coaching staff that AG started with, we wouldn't have 2 new coordinator hires and 10 assistant coaches fired on top of that. Like, I really think that this staff would have been much more conducive for success. And hopefully that happens in year 2, and then AG gets year 3 and beyond, hopefully.
I asked this question of Antoine Staley yesterday, and I'll ask you, the firing of all these coaches, was it justified in your eyes, from Aaron Glenn? Like, what do you think?
The defensive side, yes, because most of those guys were Wilkes influence to come in. Like, I know Eric Washington was a Wilkes guy. Aaron Curry was sort of a Wilkes guy. And then who was the safeties coach that they let go? I'm going to try to pull it up on the fly. Oh, Dre Blythe. I had rhyming in my own fumbling around. But Dre Blythe I don't think he was a Wilkes guy. But Roosevelt Williams, Alonzo Escalante, Dre Blythe, Eric Washington, those were 4, and then Aaron Curry. So they had 5 defensive guys fired along with Wilkes. I would say 3 of those guys were heavy Wilkes influence guys, so that always made sense. Charles London needed to go, and Scott Turner, I was like intrigued by when we hired him, but our pass game coordinating concepts, like, they were okay, right? I don't think like he was like anything special, just like Tanner Engstrand wasn't really like anything special. I didn't like the demotion of Tanner Engstrand that led to him being let go. And then you had Jeff Blasco, the tight ends coach. He wasn't fired, but he left to take a lateral position with the Cleveland Browns. And then all of a sudden, David Njoku's not re-signing with Cleveland. Not saying it's Blasco's fault, but he left for greener pastures in Cleveland, and now he has – I mean, Harold Fannin is a very good tight end, but they're going to have to kind of remake their tight end room. So I think it's all justified. You just never like to see that much turnover. I will give Aaron Glenn credit, though, because you want it to happen from year 1 to year 2, right? You want them to just say, hey, this isn't working, let's scrap it and go. But if this becomes a pattern, then obviously it's a negative on Glenn. Whereas, like, even if this was like year 2 going into year 3 and they had 2 years of experience with the coaching staff and then decided to flip over 65% of their staff, I'd be a little bit more caused for concern. But doing it all after year 1, at least you understand where your shortcomings were and you're hoping to rebound from that. Just how big is the rebound going to be? And is it enough to give you that third swing at the bat as head coach in 2027?
We hope so.
Yes,
and
100%.
The fact that you said it's a positive, I'm going to check that off.
Yeah.
And guys, you guys are watching Jets Worldwide, wide with special guest DT in the building. If you guys are watching after the fact, please make sure you guys smash the like, hit the sub, and also go over to DT's channel. My man is trying to get up to 2K subs. That's what we're talking about right here, right? It's a community that wants to help each other out. But I kind of want to get into it now, right? This is this is where you're like the dude, bro. I feel like this is where you flourish the most. I mean, you were just out up in the Senior Bowl. You were rubbing elbows with Dom C, with Jake.
Mhm.
I mean, you guys were like living it up. I heard you guys were having donut parties. Like, there's a lot of stuff that was going on from my understanding. But
we don't talk about what happened in the Airbnb. Come on.
hey, you know that. So, but shout out to everybody that's coming in. I see Paganardi's in the building. I see Coach is here as well. Billy SBC's in the building as well. So this is a perfect question to ask you to get us into the convo about the draft. Now, I have to say this. I feel like we really do not know where the Jets are going to go because free agency has not occurred, right? So, to everybody watching, we think that they might go this way, but then they might go that way. We don't know. We don't know what the Jets are wanting to do and everything. But these are our wants. This is what we feel like, at least, would make the Jets better and make them better pretty quickly. But we got a guy in here, and our guy, shout out to Oscar. Oscar asks, Snowball, Johnny, DT, speaking of interceptions, would you guys use one of those picks on a replacement for Sauce? There are some really good corners in this draft. I would love it if we could snag one. Thoughts? DT, if you're okay, I want to go first on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't think we need one. And I might be crazy for saying that, but I feel like we got AZ Thomas. You saw what you had with him before he got hurt. That's the other piece of this part. We had a lot of injuries that were occurring to our secondary. So I like Daisy. I like Stevens. I like Brownlee. You know, maybe for depth in the later rounds, I said you potentially get that. But again, with those top picks, right, that we have, I would not want to go that route. Snowball?
No, I think we need a new person at every level of the offense and the defense. Safety, corner, linebacker, on the defensive line. You need people on the offensive line. You need wide receivers. You might need a running back. Who knows? So I think it is not out of the question to get a replacement for Sauce. It's I think you need one. Really, I think you need either that or depth at the position. So I'm in for a corner.
Yeah, I would say with 2 and 16 specifically, I would prefer if they didn't go that route.
Yeah.
Now, at 16, if Jermod McCoy from Tennessee or Mansour Delane from LSU is available there, which I don't project they would be, I do think Aaron Glenn will contemplate it, right? Because that's just his thing. He loves DBs, and that's like always going to be his bread and butter. He did try to turn over a lot of this cornerback room, right? He signed Brandon Stevens. He drafted AZ Thomas. He traded for Jarvis Brownlee mid-season. So he was trying to revamp the corner room to the point where maybe they view it as, okay, let's go get like a Brandon Eccles variant in free agency or a day 3 draft pick. So like rounds 4 or 5, maybe even because like 6 or 7, you're really not like anticipating them to be anything for your roster and you're hoping that they never have to play. Whereas like a 4th or a 5th rounder, if he comes in for an injury, which AZ Thomas sustained at least 2, maybe it was the same shoulder injury twice, but he was hurt for most of the season. So if you're going with like a day 3 guy, like a round 4 guy, and I'm going to be like heavily biased with Senior Bowl guys because that's who I have the most exposure with. I loved Chandler Rivers from Duke. He's 5'9" and 3/8 and 185 pounds. So I don't know. I mean, he has the Aaron Glenn measurables. I just don't know if like Aaron Glenn doesn't seem to like short and small corners, right? Even Jarvis Brownlee in the slot is like, I think over 6 foot. So I would say I personally like Chandler Rivers as like your cornerback 4, cornerback 5, and a gunner as well. And then who else do we have? Jalen Kilgore from South Carolina, 6 foot, 211 pounds, closer to 6'1", really. Dom and I got to interview him on the field at practice, between practice sessions, and really liked what he had to say. I thought he was a really smart kid. And obviously being a little bit of bias from South Carolina, I remember when they were mocking Brandon Cisse to the Jets in the first round, when it was like the Colts pick in like the later part of 20s when they were still winning. And I turned on Cisse's tape, or, South Carolina defensive tape, and I was like, this other cornerback is standing out to me. And it happened to be Jalen Kilgore. And then he ends up going to Senior Bowl, and then we get to talk to him. And I was like, wow, this is like totally incredible. So like, I'm a little bit of bias there with Jalen Kilgore, but I think his talent is worth, pick 103, right? And then another guy, a sleeper for like, if they decide to get cute between 16 and 33, Colton Hood from Tennessee, 5'11", 188. He only performed, I think, 1 day or 2 days in the Senior Bowl, and then he was in street clothes the third day. That just means he was doing well enough where he was basically told by his agency, like, hey, you've improved your stock enough. We're going to just slide out the rest of the week, and we will do the interviews and things like that. So Colton Hood could be that sleeper pick. But my like favorite target for round 4 in like most of PFF's mocks, and maybe it's just me, cheesing the mock draft because I know he's almost always there. Malik Muhammad from Texas, 5'11" and 7/8, so just about 6 foot, 183 pounds, 32-inch arms. So his wingspan is pretty long. I'm really excited about him. And I think any of those guys as like a day 3 swing, obviously there's the top guys that we talked about. I would be cool with a day 3 swing because I don't think it's necessarily worth adding a big end talent to the room unless it is a McCoy or a Mansour Delane who falls to 16, because then you could take him over like Peter Woods or Caden McDonald, and it kind of makes sense, even though defensive tackle is also a need. But I think AZ Thomas showed enough that he's a starter. So I would prefer them go the depth route. And like even another one, Davison Igbinosun from Ohio State. And I know we have a conversation coming up about Ohio State. Like he's another day 3 guy, 6'2", 192, really long arms, 32 and 7/8. So like he comes with freaky length. He was sticky in coverage. So yeah, I would add a depth guy. I just wouldn't prioritize it.
So let's get into this. All right. I'm gonna put up your draft talk, okay? Because this is, you were saying some people were giving you some crap about it, right?
Yeah.
So we'll talk about this. I'm gonna give you 3 for myself that I'm like, I think people are gonna kill me. It's gonna take it 20 times worse. But I am somebody that is like, I want offense, okay? If we're talking about 2027, it's going to be the draft for the quarterback for us and et cetera, et cetera. So what does that mean? What do? You put as many weapons as you can to make it 20 times easier for the quarterback that you're going to put in, right? Now, it's going to be crazy, but give me Tate at 2. If Lemon is there at 16, you take him. And then I'm probably going to take the DT from Ohio. I mean, Caden McDonald. And that's where I'm at so far. Is that crazy? Or, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Like, dude, we have not had offense. Like, could you imagine that wide receiving room being your Garrett Wilson, AD Mitchell, Tate, Lemon, and your 5th, Arius Smith?
It doesn't matter. It's you. It could be anybody. That would be an embarrassment of riches in a good way because it's offensive driven. Do I think it's realistic? Probably not. But literally, if I was like owning the Jets in a Madden franchise and that was the situation, I would do it. I wouldn't think back or like think twice about it. I wouldn't look back because I don't believe Lemon's going to be there. I think Tate is worth the value at 2, and obviously so is Mekhi Lemon, in my opinion. And 3, like you said, you're dummy proofing it, and that's been my favorite like word to use for the quarterback position. You're dummy proofing it, and And people, they kind of get confused when I say that. They think it means like dumbing down the offense for it, like literally like offense for dummies. And I'm like, no, dummy proofing means that you insert the quarterback, probably a rookie, and there is too much talent around him where you come out of that first season and you say, damn, we still don't have a quarterback. Like you should know right away because the environment around him is so good if it's the quarterback's fault or not. So yeah, I would do this. Do I think the Jets would do this? Ultimately, probably not, because then I think it would entertain the possibility of Garrett getting traded, and I don't really want to see that. But yeah, if you're like running a Madden franchise and you just want to win the Super Bowl every single year, you spam offense and then you supplement on defense in free agency, which I think the Jets should do. And that's why I have them taking a guard at 16.
But let me ask you that, right? You say that Garrett Wilson would want to trade.
I'm not saying that he would want to trade. I'm saying the Jets would probably look at themselves and say, hey, we have 2 new guys in the pipeline on 5-year deals. We can probably move off of Garrett for a little bit of a hit and still save a ton of money and then allocate it somewhere else. Even though I feel like you traded your best defensive players to now go allocate this to offense, right? So they would be doing exactly what I want them to be doing. And then I still feel like they would find a way to like Jets it up and get rid of Garrett Wilson.
I just say all of this because I'm like, I think it puts the New York Jets in the driving room, right? The driving like
The
side
driver's seat,
of the driver's seat of itself, and just being able to like, yo, Garrett, you see what we're doing, right? And if you still want to continue to be in a Jet later on or whatever, hey, you got to cut something. I mean, or do something. I don't know. Like, I like having those guys for 5 years. I mean, bro, could you imagine we have a T. Higgins, Chase, Justin Jefferson, Addison, but you're adding Garrett Wilson to the whole situation.
Yeah.
And you still got AD Mitchell, bro. It would be crazy.
Yeah. The Jets are living in not 11 personnel. The Jets are living in 10 personnel. Mason Taylor is probably never on the field, and all you have is whoever your back is. We'll just say Breece Hall for now. And then you have Garrett in the slot on the left. You have Mekhi on the slot on the right, AD on the boundary right, and then Carnell Tate on the boundary left. So you have the 2 Ohio State guys to the left, and you have Lemon and AD on the right. And I mean, there's just no defending that. Like, you don't have 4 corners that can do that, because like, who is the worst of the 4? Probably AD Mitchell in that instance. And like Pat Surtain said that AD Mitchell, like, he has wiggle at the line of scrimmage and he can beat press so nicely that like you're going to have a matchup advantage somewhere across the board. And then teams are going to be forced to live in dime personnel. And then they have 6 defensive back types on the field, 4 of them probably cornerbacks. Like, what team is 4 cornerbacks deep to handle that offensive firepower? So I love where your brain is at. Like, schematically, like, nobody would ever see anything like that. And I think that would be really cool. But yeah, I mean, it feels like it's a little unrealistic, unfortunately.
I'm just saying, that's all. Sorry.
I'm gonna credit you for developing the brand new offense of the NFL. You know, it's a copycat league.
Yeah.
So, you know, we thought that the Patriots had it with the double tight ends, you know, and now Johnny Boy is designing the offense with elite receivers everywhere. So, you know, I get it. I understand it 100%. And I think we should do it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, you guys are not telling me that if the New York Jets are scoring a crap load of touchdowns, that you guys are not going to be like, shit, we have a chance. Yeah, the defense might be shitty, but again, this goes back to what I said from the very beginning of the actual show itself, where we have no idea what they're going to do in free agency, right? We have no idea what their board is. I mean, for all I know, they could potentially have that on their board. I don't know. But DT, I mean, your mock draft, you got Reese, Ola, Emmanuel, Lee, Sam. Talk to us.
Yeah, so I did this off air and then I presented it on air. So it's hard to remember every situation, and I feel like it's a lot harder when you're doing it offline and trying to present it online, because people can't see, okay, at pick 33, why didn't you take this guy? Or at pick 16, why didn't you take Mekhi Lemon? And it's like, well, those guys weren't there, unfortunately, but it's obviously hard to explain that just with this graphic. So Arvell Reese, I picked him at 2. He's not my personal choice at 2. I would have David Bailey as the choice at number 2. I just think Arvell Reese is a little bit of a projection as an edge rusher at full-time edge, whereas like his off-ball duties are like insane at Ohio State. So I don't know if I love that as opposed to David Bailey being a full-time edge rusher, 14.5 sacks at Texas Tech, coming from Stanford, which again, another right connection, which is kind of funny. So I went with Arvell here because it feels like he's the consensus favorite as of today. And then I went Olo Vivega Lawane, the guard from Penn State. I literally had to watch 1.5 games of Lawane before I was like, yeah, I'm good with this. And he ended up being, I think, my 11th best player on my big board as it stands today. There could be guys that jump above him as I watch, but right now he's a top 12 player for me. So I was like, cool, at 16, none of the wide receivers were there. Obviously, I just went edge, so I'm not going to take a guy like Akeem Mesidor or TJ Parker at 16. I could have gone defensive tackle like Caden McDonald, but I felt like that was a little too like chalky compared to what the consensus mock drafts are. So I was trying to just present different scenarios that even if I wouldn't do it myself, I would be okay with it. And that's what led me to Lawane. And then you find out that Simpson's contract is voided, and Antoine said with you guys that he's probably not coming back. Do they risk a big 1 year deal for AVT to stay healthy, like as a pay as you go, kind of like Tyron Smith? If that doesn't work, I don't think you can just plop in a 4th or 5th round left guard next to Josh Myers and feel confident about it. So I went with a big swing at guard with Lawane. Pick 33, and I'll lump in pick 44. If these guys go in the first round, Emmanuel McNeil Warren and Lee Hunter, if these guys are first round picks, I would not be surprised whatsoever. It would make sense if Emmanuel McNeil Warren went to a playoff team in like the back end of the 20s. He was supposed to be at Senior Bowl. He ended up not going. And then Lee Hunter, who was at Senior Bowl, just a hulking defensive tackle, lived in the backfield, a penetrator and a run stuffer, absolutely massive. He wears the number 2 in season, and then at the Senior Bowl, he wears number 10. So a defensive lineman wearing a small number is always so funny to me because like there's so much jersey left around the number. And I think it's hilarious to watch like a guy with like 2 and 10, but he's big and he kind of moves like he does not, fit the mold of his body size. So if those guys were first round picks, I wouldn't be surprised. So I totally just took the best player available in the second round. I wanted to lean on defense because I want to come away with more defensive guys in the first 4 rounds. And then Sam Roush, I just wanted to do like a pseudo lazy Stanford connection with Frank Reich, but also he showed a little bit at the Senior Bowl, right? He was a bit of a good mover. He had some pretty good catches in the team periods that I was impressed with. And the class as a whole at tight end, I think, is deep, but it's not like overly impressive. Like after Kenyon Sadiq at Oregon, I think it's like Max Clare and then a couple guys, but it's a big fall off from these tiers. So Sam Roush, maybe he's a bit of a reach at 103, but I wanted to do a little bit of Stanford connection, get a little bit of offense back in it. And ultimately 3 defense, 2 offense in the first 5 is okay with me. I wouldn't mind if they went 4 offense in those first 5 picks because hopefully they supplement defense in free agency. But this was a positional value blended with BPA approach with this mock draft 2.0.
So I want to go and hit a little bit about on tight ends, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I get this one right here and what you're saying in regards to the tight end, but dude, there's a lot of free agents that are coming out. Again, it goes right back to the conversation about free agency. So if the New York Jets are like, you know what, let's test it out because you got your guy from Cleveland, Njoku, that's going to be out there. I think you got Pitts. I think you got Goddard. What's the dude from the Rams, man? Higbee.
Yep.
Higbee's out there. So a lot
Austin
of these cats
Hooper.
a lot of these cats are still young. So why not, right? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so difficult right now for me to say first off, if anybody's coming at you about your picks right now, tell them to kick rocks. Because I mean, look, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and that's cool and whatever. But you're making valid points because you just heard it. We had our guy Antoine on, right? He says pretty much like, yo, Simpsons is walking, dog. Like this dude, I don't think he's coming back.
Right.
So you have that need right there. And our guy Macho, shout out to our guy Macho, ask a question right here. Question for DT. Is there anyone that you would take over? I can never pronounce his cast name. Lawane, right? If they happen to fall down the draft.
Yeah, you could share the other photo that I have in the backstage. So this right now is my top 18. This is the 18 that I feel the most comfortable with, having watched and taken notes to rank them. There's obviously other guys that I've watched. I've watched about 30 to 35 guys total. But these are the ones that I feel the most confident in. As you see, Olavega Lawane is number 11 on my board. But yeah, if there's a guy that falls at 16, like I said, the two cornerbacks, I would consider them. I would consider Jordan Tyson. Obviously, I don't think Mekhi Lemon falls to 16. I would take those guys over Lawane. If Sonny Styles fell to 16, I would take him over him. Obviously, I would take Caleb Downs at 16. I don't think he'll be there. But yeah, I would take a handful of guys over Lawane. But the way that the board fell in that specific mock draft, the guys that I would have prioritized were mostly gone. And it was like picking between Lawane and Keldrick Falk, or Lawane and Caleb Banks, Akeem Mesidor, the guys that are like 15 and below. So yeah, there's definitely some guys, Macho, that I would take over Lawane and feel pretty good about it. But again, if you're coming away with the consensus top interior offensive lineman in the draft, that's fine. 16 is totally good value. I think we traded up to 14 to take AVT a couple years ago, and people praised that move for Joe Douglas. And I mean, they moved up 9 spots, and the Vikings still got Christian Darrisaw, who ended up being a better offensive tackle than AVT was anyway. So it's like, did we really make the best move there? But if you could stick and pick at 16 and get the consensus top guard, I think I like that a lot.
Do you take the risk with AVT?
I would do the pay as you go, like whatever the Tyron Smith deal was. I think it was like 1 for 20, but like X amount is guaranteed, and then like per game he'll earn more on the season. I would do something like that, and then you take your day, like if they get a 3rd round pick somehow, like trading back, I would do AVT and a 3rd round pick. This scenario with Vega specifically was Simpson is gone, AVT was gone, somebody like outbid you and wanted to make him a starting right tackle type money, and the Jets were like, we're not going to match that. That's crazy. So they let AVT and Simpson walk. And like I said, I'm not going to feel confident starting pick 175 next to Josh Myers, because I'm a little hesitant on Josh Myers as it is already. So like 2 positions that I'm really iffy about standing next to each other, that doesn't give me a ton of optimism.
So this is where free agency comes into play. Obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. I want to let everybody know you guys are watching Jets Worldwide, wide every Friday night, 7:30 p.m. Bring you some content tonight about some draft conversation. Guys, if you guys are watching, please make sure to hit the like, hit the sub. Also, we got our guy DT, right? The Dylan Tereman Experience. If you guys do not know who he is, what are you doing? Where have you been? Get out of your bed, get out of the, I don't know, man. But look, go over there, help support my dude, try to reach 2K. We're just trying to get 500. Like, help. But
yeah, listen, support Dylan, but hit the sub on our channel first.
Absolutely.
And then go over to Dylan's and do it. And if you're on your phone, I'm a teacher. I love giving instructions. Not like you don't know how to do it, but it's very easy. Click off the chat, go to the subscribe button, just click on it, and then turn the chat back on and hop back in and start yelling at us. Why would you take this guy at 16? You're an asshole, right? All this stuff. So you can just do that, right? But anyway.
Sounds like my Twitter mentioned Snowball.
Listen, if you swim in the Twitter water, Twitter rhymes with something. So anyway, It's shitter water, really. Honestly.
Yes.
I do have to say, I want to talk real quick, and just my quick thoughts on Bailey, that edge from Texas Tech, man. Yo, bro, that bend that he does and his get off, it's kind of impressive, man. And that dude is strong, bro. I was like, okay, I see why people are saying that this guy could potentially go number 2, which look, that'd be intriguing for that. So I'm gonna say that. But look, I want to ask you some questions, DT, right? And I want to really get into this. So I'm gonna talk a little bit of overall on the actual draft class and the big picture when it comes with the New York Jets itself. How much stock do you put in team needs versus best player available in this draft, especially with so many non-premium positions, running back, linebacker, safety, projected to go high?
Yeah, so as you can see on the board here, I have Downs, Style, and Love as my top 3, all non-premium positions. If you were asking me who I would make as the selection for the Jets at number 2, the conversation for me would start with David Bailey. And I know that's like, but DT, your rankings literally contradict that. I get it, but you have to blend in best player available with positional value, right? Is David Bailey the edge player who's going to hopefully get you 8 to 12 sacks, hopefully within the first 2 years, hopefully his rookie year? Is that value of a guy who gets after the quarterback more valuable than a guy who sits at the back end of the defense? And he does a lot of versatile things, right? Is the value of the edge worth the value of the safety? You factor in the contracts, the rookie slotted contracts. Are you going to pay a safety that much guaranteed money in his first year? Like, he would already be a pretty high-end paid safety in the league. And the same thing goes for Jeremiah Love. I'm not making Jeremiah Love a top 8 paid running back before he takes an NFL snap. And that's pretty much what he would be at the number 2 overall pick. So you have to blend positional need with BPA in the draft, especially at the top. And I think for me personally, I lean positional value. Like, if this was a positional value ranking, Fernando Mendoza is obviously number 1, but he's number 10 on my board just based on tape grade, right? He has the same grade as Tyson and Bain. So you can argue that maybe he's above Tyson. I don't think he's better than Bain when I watched him on tape. So positional value does have to bake into it. And I think you can get more into the weeds of best player available in the 3rd through 7th round. 1st and 2nd round, to me, I'm trying to take, and this might be a flawed philosophy, but I would rather take the safer, better premium pick with my premium draft selection. So give me the edge that I think is a blue chipper, even though I do think Caleb Downs is a very special safety. Dane Brugler is asking scouts, Caleb Downs is the best safety prospect since blank. Multiple scouts said ever with Caleb Downs. So, like, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but there's a lot more variables and factors when you're picking at 2. Like, if they took Bailey at 2 and then they traded up to 8 with New Orleans and took Caleb Downs in front of the Saints, or in front of the Chiefs, rather, I would love that. I just don't know if I love Caleb Downs at 2. So, yes, BPA and positional value have to be blended. And I think you go BPA later in the draft.
So Caleb Downs, my understanding from what I've seen, a lot of individuals have been essentially comparing him to the unicorn, right? And then he went to probably the best place that he could have gone at that time, which was Baltimore. And I'm talking about what's his name? Hamilton, I think it is, right?
Kyle Hamilton, yep.
So is there comparisons to that, or completely 2 different styles of play?
So
I don't like comparing players, by the way. Okay. So
I'm not a big comparison guy either. Kyle Hamilton is 6'4", 218. Caleb Downs is 6 foot 205. So body type, length, those like specific physical measurements or measurables are very different. Stylistically, they're a little bit closer to the same, right? I think Kyle Hamilton, he's almost like a sub linebacker for Baltimore right now, which is pretty crazy. But I always thought that he had the range to play on the back end as a free safety roaming from sideline to sideline. They obviously don't use him in that role, whereas I think Caleb Downs can excel a little bit better in that role, whereas he's probably a little bit less of a box safety than Hamilton is. And I mean, kudos to Baltimore, because it didn't seem like at first they knew what to do with Kyle Hamilton, and then they figured it out. And sometimes when he's standing next to who is their linebacker in the middle that I'm blanking on, but whenever he's standing next to that linebacker at the second level and he's like playing that sub linebacker role, I feel like he actually excels a lot better, and Kyle Hamilton is a force. I had Kyle Hamilton as like my third ranked player in that draft. I had Ike Ekwonu, Kayvon Thibodeau, then Kyle Hamilton at number 3, and then I had Sauce and Hutchinson at 4 and 5. So I was on board with taking Kyle Hamilton, and that's why I say I would do the same thing for Caleb Downs. Plus, the Jets have so many damn needs that, like, it doesn't matter what position they take. He's going to fill a role, and he's probably going to start sooner rather than later. So if people are saying he's the best safety prospect ever, yeah, you have to consider it. So I don't want to say he's better than Kyle Hamilton, but he's in that ballpark 100%.
Raekwon Smith.
That's it. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, dude, 100%. Like, again, but it goes right back. And guys, you're probably gonna get tired of me saying this constantly, but it's the truth. Free agency is gonna play such a huge factor on, I feel like, what's gonna occur. Because, imagine if they go on free agency and they just go straight freaking defense, right?
Yep.
So safety room, concern, Blankenship. How much will Blankenship cost us? Blankenship and Malachi Moore. And I feel like you do that, you solidify the actual safety room at that. Get Tony Adams out of here. You probably get some guys for depth later or whatever that you need in the draft, right? A guy that you could develop, blah, blah, blah. You go that way. There's just a lot. There's a lot. Like we just said about the tight ends. What if they go that route and they go into free agency? You got Pitts. I mean, dude, the Higbee stuff. Like if you want a guy right then and there, all these guys are still young. First off, David Njoku, right? He's there as well. The honestly, dude, but the one person that really, really, really intrigues me a lot, and I like it, and I think this is a good segue to go into this actual conversation that we're gonna have, is the Sonny Styles, bro. The Sonny Styles, to put him potentially in a Joker role that he could play in all different freaking positions. Imagine him just constantly switching around and just, and the offense is like, yo, what is this dude doing? What's going on? I think that would be huge. But I want to ask you this, and I feel like this is something that you and I were talking about in the background, okay? But Ohio State right now is dominating the top of the boards with players like Reese, Downs, Sonny Styles. Is this the best defensive class from one school since 2017's Alabama group that has pretty much helped out the top of the actual board itself? And to put some noise into that, so these are the players that went round 1 during that time in 2017, and it goes, you had Humphrey, went to Baltimore, Jonathan Allen, OJ Howard, Reuben Foster. Okay. Cam Robinson went into the second, and he went pretty quickly. He went 34 overall. All right. Ohio State's 2026 draft class, and I'm just going to go with the cats that are in the top and the potential top second round pick, okay? And that is Reese, Downs, Styles, Tate, and then you got McDonald. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I think this is very much a good comparison, because it's not just defense. There's a couple offensive guys sprinkled in, like Carnell Tate, and then Obviously, I'll throw in Max Clare as like that second round guy, as like that Cam Robinson adjacent. And I said this to you guys off air. Marlon Humphrey was picked 16 to the Baltimore Ravens, and he was the first of those 5 guys from the Alabama class. I could see a world where Downs, Styles, Reese, Tate, and Caden McDonald, like say Caden McDonald is the pick at 16, I could see him being the 5th guy being picked from Ohio State at pick 16, whereas the first guy taken from that Alabama class was at 16. And obviously, I'm sure that that draft class was way loaded at the top compared to this class. But I do think that this Ohio State talent, and then there's obviously still the 2027 guys too, like Sayin and Smith, but there is so much talent on this Ohio State team that I would think that they are going to rival, if not perform better in the draft than that 2017 Alabama class. And I mean, we talked about Igbinosun a little earlier, Max Clare, Caden Curry. Like they're going to have guys that are probably in the top 100, top 125 anyway, that like it's going to rival this Alabama class. Now, Reuben Foster was really special. OJ Howard didn't have the best career, although he flashed at first. Jonathan Allen is still in the league, which is great, and Marlon Humphrey's still in the league, which is great. There's a world where these guys from Ohio State have a better longevity and future as a group compared to that 2017 team. But yeah, that's a really good comparison. And like you'd probably have to go all the way as far back as that, which is almost a decade ago, to find as talented a class as what we're looking at with Ohio State. I mean, 4 guys in the top 7 for me. The Caden McDonald down at 18. Like that's a very star-studded group from Ohio State.
And you know who the Jets picked from that team? Because 10 players from that class went from Alabama in 2017 into the NFL. Snowball, can you guess the player in 2017 that the New York Jets selected to be part of the organization?
Johnny Boy.
Yes.
Nope.
Hey, chat.
No.
Can you guys guess?
I was going to say, ask the chat.
Chat, can you guys guess in 2017, the New York Jets selected this Alabama player? Can you guys name him?
Big fella, I think Ja'Kai Polite was a Florida Gator.
Yeah, he was Florida. Yeah,
and I have a hunch that this player was 10 out of 10 in terms of like who was the best of those 10 Alabama guys. I would say that all 9 of the other guys were better. You're a little too early with D Millen or Big Fella. He was in 2013.
JT, the question is, from the 2017 draft class that came out of Alabama, who was the player the New York Jets selected? During that draft, there were 10 Alabama players that got drafted into the NFL. And what we were comparing it to was the studded. I mean, Ohio State has a lot of players that are going. I mean, we just named, I think 5, right? 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I mean, Reese, Downs, Styles, Tate, McDonald, and then Max. That's 6.
Yep. And then you have possibly Igbinosun and Caden Curry, their edge rusher, who like could be top 4 round picks. So there it is. Maybe we don't get 10 guys from Ohio State, but we're definitely going to get like 7, 8 of them.
Yeah, it's wild to think about it, right? And I think out of that entire class from Alabama, I would probably say Reuben Foster was the best one before he got in trouble with all that stuff. So
yeah, it's
a really good comparison, I think, of a class from then.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's definitely an intriguing one to say.
Yeah, 100%. I like that. I like that drawback because not often do we get crazy talented teams. And like we also talked about the Georgia teams over the last couple of years, but they were kind of more spread out, right? Like I think wasn't Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. I think they were different draft classes. So it's going to be interesting to see like if we have another talented team like that, come through the pipeline.
Yeah. But I mean, listen, I can't wait for free agency to start so that we can answer these questions later on down the road with the draft. Dylan, I know you have limited time.
Yep.
And we do have a very large audience viewing right now for us. So I'd like to remind the people who are watching that we are Jets Worldwide. We do have Dylan Tereman with us, and we do need subscribers. So if you would be so kind as you are watching, please hit the like button. Let people know that we're on. Let people draw people who like the Jets to our channel, and hit the subscribe button, because Dylan Tereman, this is not his last appearance on our show, but he'll be back. So, and we have a strong lineup of people who will be joining us in the future. So if you like what you're seeing tonight, and it's hard to top Dylan Tereman, I understand, but we do have a lot of B players who can come in as well. I mean, it's very, very rare that we get these A players into the studio, but we'll share with you. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
guys, I'm gonna ask if you guys are okay really quickly. I know we're about to get ready to probably wrap up pretty soon. DT Snowball, are you guys down to take a couple of calls? I know we've had some people that would like to have a couple of conversation here with us.
Sure.
So we could do that. I'm gonna ask you a little bit of some questions too, though, while we get people to call in. So I wanted to ask you this, right? In regards to a player and his name that's been mentioned a lot, especially with all this Breece Hall conversation, the Jeremiah Love, he's the Notre Dame running back, is getting a lot of first round buzz. What makes him special enough to potentially crack the top 10? And how rare is a running back going that high in today's NFL?
Well, unfortunately, the rarity factor, I mean, we just saw Genty go at 2, so I don't want to say it's incredibly rare. I think it is a little bit misguided to take a guy that high. And I know for anybody who enjoys Buffalo Jets fans content, he made the Ashton Genty rule, which is if your team hasn't made the playoffs in either of the last 2 seasons, you're not allowed to draft a first-round running back. And I feel like I wholeheartedly agree with that, and that needs to become a law in the NFL. And that's not to say that Jeremiah Love is not worthy of that pick, but like the Chiefs, for example, right? They missed the playoffs this season because Mahomes got injured, but they were in the Super Bowl the year before. So they're picking 9. They could get away with that. The Jets at 2, they can't get away with it. Now, in terms of the talent himself, yeah, this is like Zeke went 4 overall. Barkley went 2 overall. Like he's in that conversation in terms of talent level. He's a 3-phase back. He's a runner. He's a receiver. He's a blocker. I think he has some pretty sick moves. I was watching his game against Miami. He put Hakeem Mesidor in a blender off the edge with a spin move. And I swear he spams the Y button or triangle button at least 3 times in the Miami game. And 2 times it worked to like perfection. And I'm like, wow, like this dude's not afraid to like go up over the top of these defenders. So he has all the moves, that the running back, like in the running back, like bag of moves. Some crazy, insane nerd stats on him. He only had 1 drop on 34 targets and 1 fumble on 199 carries. So you're talking about 233 touch sample size, and he really only put the ball in harm's way twice, and 1 is a drop. So it's not even like it was a deflected interception or anything like that. So super good with the ball security. 23 runs of over 15 plus yards. Like he is what we think Breece Hall used to be, right? In 2022, 2023, like when Breece was breaking the big runs in Denver, I feel like that's Jeremiah Love. So 23 runs of 15 plus, 56 missed tackles forced. That's insane because you only play like 13 games. So it's like almost 4.5 missed tackles forced per play. Like now imagine Breece Hall, how many times he got hit in the backfield, had to like spin off it and barely gained 2 yards because of the offensive line over the last like 2-ish seasons. So he would definitely thrive there. And then 65.3% of his yards, he had 1,372 rush yards. 65.3% of them came after contact. He had almost 900 yards after contact.
That's crazy.
It's absolutely nuts. 4.5 yards after contact per attempt. So you touch him and it doesn't matter. He's still getting another 5 yards. So like if you need that your real crucial first down, just give the ball to Jeremiah Love. And in the game specifically that I watched against Miami, they lost 27-24, and he had very limited opportunities because they were constantly doing the RPOs and like the quick throws. And like, I'm like, just hand it to the guy who wins 85% of the time he touches the ball. Like he's going to bust a big one eventually, or just keep feeding him. So if a team like the Chiefs becomes and makes him a feature back in their system, it's going to work. And it could work with the Jets because they have the offensive line in place. Hopefully they figure out the quarterback situation. You have the wide receivers that take away box defenders from the run game, but I don't love it at pick 2, and he's not going to be there at pick 16. If he was there at 16, you got to entertain it, but I'm not trading up for him from 16, and they're not going to be able to trade back from 2 unless somebody is like in love with Ty Simpson, and I don't think anybody is. So who's trading up to 2 where you can back out and try to get Jeremiah Love? So the player, yes. The fit, no.
That's a good one, and that's going to lead to one of my questions after we take this call.
Yeah.
First-time caller to the show. I'm excited to see him. I've always seen him in other shows as well, so he's been rocking here. He is very, very passionate New York Jets fan. Love his takes, love what he states all the time. I'm going to bring him on, our guy, James. James, welcome.
Johnny boy, what's up, brother? Thank you for the introduction. Not necessary. I just speak what I feel, and that's it. But I appreciate it. Good job, guys. Keep up the good work. You guys are killing it. So I kind of tuned in a little late. I've been in and out. Work is crazy right now. But are you guys advocating for taking Jeremiah Love or?
No, I wouldn't advocate for it at 2. At 16, I would, but he's just not going to be there, in my opinion. I do think that based on the other needs of this team, this is where positional value would, I guess, like trump the best player available approach, because Jeremiah Love is one of the best players in the draft. Like it's not even a question.
No doubt.
But I would take a guy like David Bailey, who has a more direct approach to, or a direct path to disrupt games, right? Like Jeremiah Love, like what would he have to do in his rookie season to justify being the number 2 pick? He probably
1,900 all-purpose yards.
Right. And that's kind of a big ask. Like Breece Hall didn't even get that this past year. I know he barely broke 1,000, and I think he had like 400 or 500 receiving yards. So like
around there, I think.
Yeah. So you're asking for like a supreme hyper productive season from him, really for 3 or 4 seasons. And then like my biggest issue with running backs is, does he get the second contract with the Jets, or do you just let him walk after 4 or 5 years and pick up a comp pick and keep replenishing the pipeline? So it's a lot of different factors with the running back specifically, but talent alone, if the Jets were in a position where they could take that luxury pick, I 100% would advocate that it should be in consideration to be Jeremiah Love.
For sure. But you hit that, like that last part of what you just said is key. If we were in the position to take that luxury pick, we're not.
No, we're not.
We're not. And for me personally, and it's just my opinion, and, you know, it is what it is. I think that this fan base is giving up on Breece too soon. We have to take everything into account. Johnny knows, right? We all know, like, it's been a disaster at quarterback. And if you don't have a threat to throw the football, it's kind of hard to run. And we've actually had a pretty decent running game, you know, for the past, I guess, couple years since Breece has been here. I think we're all forgetting about, you know, Braylon Allen. We talk about Derrick Henry being a 240, 245-pound back. Let's not forget, Braylon Allen is like 230, 235. I mean, he's a big dude. He's not, and he's, what, 22?
Barely, yeah.
So, like, for me, the whole Love thing, again, the whole I love, yeah, all right, that'd be cool, the whole thing, but that's not a necessity. I think for me, from what I'm seeing, I love Sonny Styles, man.
Mhm.
This kid he's the real deal.
Yeah, in terms of luxury picks, I would say take Sonny Styles or Caleb Downs
Yeah,
over Jeremiah Love. If we're just talking about the 3 non-premium positions, I would say Love would have to be third on that list for me.
for sure.
Hey James,
Now,
I to tell you this, I wanted to touch a little bit on the Brees Hall conversation. Like, look,
mhm.
you're right. I don't think Brees was utilized the right way, but I've also believe that Brees Hall has lost a step. He really doesn't spin like he used to.
Johnny, he's 24, dog.
I mean, I get that, but I just don't think he wants to be here anymore, man.
I agree with that.
He's dealt with so much loss that love that he's had for football, right? I mean, dude, I remember when he was like, I was called Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
My cousin was this. He played over here and all of that, but it's just like now it's kind of gone, and
Now let me ask you a question. Is
do I
that
fault him? Do I fault him for that? No, I don't, right? But
you think it's a Quentin Williams situation where it's just stagnant? It's hit a crescendo, it's hit its peak, and you're not going to get any more than what you already got. So maybe we just ship it off.
It's a
yes,
possibility. It's a possibility because,
And
like, and Will Parkinson alluded to this with his show with
Right?
Tyson
Yeah, he's
Roush.
good. He's good.
He mentioned, he's like, if they didn't deal him at the trade deadline, did the Jets say, hey, like, keep your head in it? We're going to try to pay you at the end of the season. We want you here long term. And then after like 4 or 5 more games of that, Brees Hall was back on Twitter, boo-hoo, solemn mope, all the classic stuff. And it's just not a good look. So, like, if you have to keep telling Brees Hall, like, hey, here's $10 million, stop being a crybaby, essentially, right? Like, just harsh terms, like being blunt.
We don't need it. We don't need any parts of that. If
We
that's
don't need that. Exactly. I was gonna say that is not conducive to like putting the best roster together for the Jets.
especially now after you're hearing Harrison Phillips saying what he said and everything. I'm sorry, Stumble, what you were saying?
No, I was just going to say, the future of your quarterback position is not promising this year.
Right.
So
No.
you'll have another year of frustration
Of loading the box against
right.
Brees Hall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
if you guys don't mind, let me ask you one more question. What? Because we have Frank Reich, we have Musgrave. What are you guys thinking as far as the quarterback goes? Because we're gonna draft a quarterback. For me personally, I love Nussmeier. I'm a big fan of his. I think if we can grab him in the early third, or if he's going in the second, I might trade up for him. I think he's going to be the real deal. But Frank Reich likes big quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
He does not like little guys. So we know Boomer Esiason said that. So he's not. Kyler Murray is out.
I was corrected last night with Stroud, right? Stroud or who?
How tall is Stroud? 6'1"?
He's 6'2", I think.
Is that an NFL listing, or is he 6'2"?
His overview on Wikipedia has him at 6'3", so he's probably
6'2" then.
Anywhere from 6'2" to 6'3". I don't know. I don't remember what his combine measurements are, but I also think we have to stop calling him CJ because his name is Coleridge Bernard, so there is no J. And after he played like such ass against the Patriots,
CRBJ.
Yeah, after he played like ass against the Patriots, he has to just be Coleridge Stroud. We can't give him the CJ.
No.
Like we do with Ahmad Gardner.
I gotta tell you, bro, after Sauce, I'm done with the nicknames. I'm gonna call you by your first name and play some football, and that's it. But you guys are killing it. I gotta run. Keep up the good work, gentlemen.
Thanks, James. Appreciate you, buddy. Hey, so I have to say real quick what James was talking about, and then we're gonna bring our guy Afram up. Who is the quarterback that could potentially do that? Look, I want somebody that has already the relationship with Frank, and then he could come in, right? Start to kind of put all the play calling in place for that future quarterback. So then when you have the other players, the wide receivers, your running backs, your tight ends, they know all the different types of schemes that they need to get into for the offense itself. So once you get that quarterback, right, you get him here, he's not having to figure it out on top of the actual wide receivers as well, the running backs, et cetera, et cetera. So, dude, that's why the Jacoby Brissett shit makes so much sense to me, right? But are they going to go that way? I have no idea, man. look, the Nussmeier conversation is another one that's good. I know he got a lot of love in the Senior Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, right? But even Antoine Sully was saying that to us yesterday that he likes it, but he's kind of small,
He's
right?
very small.
And then he was talking about the hands,
8
right?
and 3/4 inches.
So can he pick it all over again, right? Like, especially playing in New York, that cold weather, is that a factor? That's why, to me, man, I'm like, yo, in the later rounds, if Drew Aller is there, and DT, I know how you feel about Drew Aller, right? Look, after the 5th round for me, I don't give a shit on who you get.
Right.
Like, if that dude drops there, get him. Why not?
Yeah.
And I'll bring him up.
Those are dart throw picks that you need to at least take a swing on, a guy with traits. So the quarterback position perfectly fits.
Sure.
Afrom.
Gentlemen, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Dude, we are chopping it up like on some hardcore football conversation here.
Yeah, I just walked in. Unfortunately, I missed most of it, but
you should go back. It's really good.
Well, I've watched Dylan. He knows his shit. That's for sure.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Now, would you guys entertain if is there a running back as good as Love coming out in 2027?
I'll have to look at the list, and obviously it's a very fluid situation because we don't know is that junior gonna pop and become a guy. I would say as far as a Jeremiah Love type, probably not, because I think, and I hate using the word generational. But
no, you don't have to use it. But saying,
if there was somebody like generational adjacent, it's probably Jeremiah Love.
Yeah, it would be more like what's his name from that was the Giants and Saquon.
Yes.
So would you entertain using one of your picks next year, number ones, when at a point where you could trade with that team and take their spot, and say, I'll give you my next year's one of them out for that spot, and then go for Jeremiah Love at that spot?
I guess it would depend how far he slipped. I'm totally on board with the Jets trading up from 33 to get that 3rd first-round pick. I would rather them trade 33 than next year's 1. But if a team said, hey, give us the Cowboys/Packers first-round pick.
Right. Well, you would negotiate that. But I'm saying, you're saying he's not going to fall past 10 or 12, you said?
I don't think he'll be there at 16 when the Jets pick.
I think he's going to be in the Kansas City pick.
Yes, I was going to say 9 to Kansas City certainly makes a lot of sense. I don't think 10 to Cincinnati makes sense.
So who picks ahead of KC?
8 is New Orleans. 7 is the Commanders. 6 is Cleveland. I could say 6 to Cleveland. Like, it makes sense to go get a Jeremiah Love if you're Cleveland. Washington, I don't know if they would do it, but it would make sense.
So with the Saints, they would, they love their
yes, they only have Alvin Kamara, and then they have the rookie from last year who was so. I think it's Devin Neal is his name, but they could use an upgrade at running back. So there are fits for him. It's just a matter of, does somebody want to take that swing on a non-premium pick, which is why I said the Chiefs make the most sense to me, because their roster is in a different place compared to the Browns and the Commanders and even the Cowboys at 12. But yeah, I would say 12. If he's there for the Cowboys or the Chiefs, that would probably be the 2 biggest fits.
So you would have to trade with someone further up.
Yes. You'd have to try trade into the top 8. And then at that point, I would hope you just get the wide receiver that falls instead.
Like Black Chiefs' suggestion?
We give the Chiefs Brees and swap picks. Swap picks as in, like, they give us 9 and we give them 16 and Brees. I would do that. I would do that. And I would pick at 2 and I would pick 9. I wouldn't take Jeremiah Love. I would take Mekhi Lemon and an edge rusher. And then I would get a running back like Travis Etienne or Kenneth Walker in free agency. And I would totally do that.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that if they really want to continue, bolstering their run game and a guy like that, I wouldn't mind using one of my 3 and just say, I'll give you next year's 3 next year, one of my ones,
Sure.
and then beat everybody in front of the Kansas City or the Saints or any of those guys that need a running back.
Yeah, no, that's fair. You could definitely do it, and I think AG loves running the ball so much, which is just kind of funny. But yeah, the whole idea of the Jets last year was we want to run the ball. We want to be like the Eagles and the Ravens. And I understand they kind of went a little bit closer to like passing game guys and a lot of like pass oriented coaches. So we'll see if the philosophical change happens. But if he's still predicated on running the ball and playing good defense, then yeah, you have to entertain Jeremiah.
And with that
Love.
whole line, this guy becomes even better on the field.
Yeah. And it helps whoever the quarterback is.
Exactly. Because you're going to pick your quarterback, hopefully, this year, but I doubt it. But you get your quarterback next year.
Right.
And then all of a sudden he's got a solid team because you're going to have, you have 2 picks. You could end up trading someone else and getting a good pick too down the road as well.
And the other thing too is like, I think it's not being, and I'll go back to it again. And I'm sorry guys, but free agency, what if they end up going and say, you know what? Let me get a Gainwell. You know what? Let me look at Dobbins. You know what? Let me look at the kid from Atlanta, right? Javonte Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just throwing
Rico Dowdle.
I'm just throwing some names out there. I think he's the restricted free agent from Washington, Chris Rodriguez. Not many people know him, right?
Yep.
So he's another one. So what I'm trying to say is, dude, there's just so much that they could go. And if Breece Hall is not there and they say, look, we're going to give you a 4th or we'll give you a 3rd. I mean, do you take it?
Yeah. Yeah, I would probably, you have to consider it. And the thing about the transition tag with Breece is if they transition tag him and somebody gives them an offer that the Jets don't want to match, they don't get a comp pick back. No. So you're flirting in the territory of like, you're getting Breece, you're giving him away for essentially nothing at this point. So like, I would just rather than franchise tag Breece. Don't create a new hole. Nobody's trading you 2-1s for Breece Hall if you franchise tag him. And then you can still work out like a pseudo 2-year deal where it's like 2026 is already fully guaranteed on the tag. We'll just take whatever that money is for 26, add $8 million more guaranteed for 2027. And then like the rest of that is like not guaranteed for 2027. So that if something does happen in 26, you can get out of it for a limited dead cap hit. But I think Breece Hall should be here for at least the next 1 to 2 years until they figure out the rest of their offense.
Listening to Will Parkinson, he said just give him 3 for 36.
That's a great deal. That's a great deal. Yeah, 3 for 36, the Kyron Williams deal.
Because I don't think he's going to get 14 from anyone. Which is the franchise tag, right?
Yeah, and Rich Cimini, when he talked about it on Flight Deck, I think it was like a month, maybe 5-6 weeks ago. He said, what if somebody comes in and blows the Jets away with a 4 for 60? And I think that's a little unrealistic for Breece Hall, but like 3 for 45 is still 15 a year. And like, I don't think the Jets will want to match that. So it does get a little dicey of like, do you want any type of return for Breece Hall? Or do you want to keep him here for the short-ish future of the Jets to help you transition to that rookie quarterback?
It's also, you got to sit him down and ask him, does he really want to stay here at this point?
And that's unfortunate because if you had to hand somebody $10 million and say, okay, now like play well with others and share your toys and like do all this, like you don't want to have to do that after paying a guy a ton of money. So like you would hope that it was more like Garrett Wilson, where it's like, yeah, wow, they took a chance on me in the draft. They believed in my talents. They wanted to keep me here long term. Like you would hope for that mentality switch with Breece, and I don't think it's coming.
No. And by the way, this is like for me, I would love for them to keep Breece, okay? And Breece is like, I want to be a Jet for the rest of my life. I still believe in what's going on. Like, I think if he says that, I think for myself, and I think maybe a lot of the people in the fan base, it would say, bet, okay, cool. Like he really does want to be here and continue to keep building from that. But right now, dude, you've seen the tweets. You've seen the stuff that he's been putting out there in the faces he showed. Does that matter?
I'll tell you one thing.
I don't know.
I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you one thing. You draft Jeremiah Love, he's forgotten.
100% with the
he's
quickness.
Forgotten.
Dude, there's this other running back from Washington. I know he was at the Senior Bowl because I made sure to try to the kid Coleman. I think that dude's big back, bro. He's like 230. You're muted.
You're muted, Dylan.
Yeah, Coleman is an interesting one. Sorry. Coleman is interesting because he was supposed to go to the Senior Bowl. He ended up backing out. And it sucks because we had that snowstorm that came from Texas all the way across Alabama and everything. So like weather and travel was so hectic for a lot of people that I don't know what the root cause of him not going to Senior Bowl was. Interestingly, though, somebody on Twitter that I respect in the draft community, but I'm blanking on who it was, and I don't want to cite it wrong, said that a lot of people had undraftable grades on Jonah Coleman, which I just didn't understand watching his tape. And then he wasn't invited to the combine. So I'm like, this is why I hate running back evaluations, because you watch a guy and like, obviously Jeremiah Love, everybody knows he's really good, but like I remember watching Jermar Jefferson, not any Justin Jeffersons, but he was like a Louisville back that I was like, okay, maybe he's like a 4th or 5th round grade, like 3 or 4 years ago. He ended up not being drafted. I don't think he's ever taken an actual handoff in the NFL. And I'm like, but this guy could have been a top 125 pick. Like, what are we talking about? So everybody is so far away on running back evaluations that it's so hard to tell. I thought he was really good back. And then I even had like Buffalo on the train. I was like, come on, Jonah Coleman, get used to his name. He's going to be like our 2nd round pick when it was like pick like 54 or 55 for the Cowboys. And he was like, I don't want it, but I'll trust you. And now it made me look terrible because he might not even be drafted.
and that's the thing, right? Like the RB talent like drops, right? I would probably say it's Love. What's the other cat that's coming out of Notre Dame? It was his
Shadarian Price,
right? It's maybe he's like later.
Yeah,
right.
He's apparently what I thought Jonah Coleman was going to be. Like he's going to be a 2nd round pick, top 50 pick. Like if he's gone before 44, I'd be a little surprised. But like, there's no way he's lasting to like the 3rd round, in my opinion. Like he's actually a really special back.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, so it's Jeremiah Love, and then it just fucking drops. Yeah, exactly. So that's why like the Breece Hall convo, it's like, I'm like, damn, do you get rid of Breece Hall for something like that? But then you look at our free agency, and you're like, none of these really excite me that much. That I'm just like,
yeah. I mean,
probably stays.
When I started watching, I've been watching the Jets since '78, and most of the '80s, the running back was a coveted position.
Yes.
That was different. The game has changed so dramatically. And now running backs are throwaways, basically.
Yeah.
Unless they're really, really,
right,
really
and
good.
they have to be really, really, really good.
Yeah.
Boss Girl says,
game changers.
What do you think of Mike Shanahan's school of thought on running backs? Have a great O-line and then have any decent NFL-worthy running back should be successful. So true.
Yes. Yeah.
So true.
He can make a 5th to 7th round pick or a UDFA back pop. And I know they have Christian McCaffrey as like the Band-Aid guy at running back, but every time he is unhealthy, whoever that running back is that steps up in his place just absolutely thrives in Shanahan's system. So yeah, if you want to take a guy like Mike Washington Jr. out of Arkansas, who's 6'4", 228, another Senior Bowl guy, like he was a bowling ball. So like you could take him and pick 103, pick 175, 178, wherever we're sitting in the 5th round. And you can make that work too. Like running backs come out of nowhere. And even if it is for just a 1 or 2 year, lightning in a bottle type of thing, and then you move on at the right time, that's what it comes down to at running back. It's not like you were saying, Afram, with like the running backs of the 80s and 90s where like they were on your team for 3 contracts and you just like, you wanted to trade your whole draft class to get the best one. So it's a different game, but you have to be
McCaffrey's a bad example because he was really good also with his previous team.
Yeah. He was a dog in Carolina.
Yeah, exactly.
Him and Cam was so fun.
Yeah.
And guys, we're gonna get ready to start wrapping up. But I did save this question from Boss Girl. She sent this to you, DT, okay? And she states, DT, if we sign free agent wide receivers, what do you think of the first 2 days draft? 2, Reese. 16, DL, Wood, Banks, Hunter, MCD. 33, trade back for picks in the 40s. 3rd round, 44. Tinman, Halsey, EMW, other 40s, Pregnon, third, J-Rod. Have no idea what half of these people are, so I'm letting you
So-
take this over, DT.
Who's MCD? I've been seeing that a lot.
McDonald, Caden McDonald, the
Okay.
tackle from Ohio State. So, all right, let's break this down. Yes to Reese. Yes to a trench player at 16. I don't mind going D tackle. I don't love going to front seven players in the first round. Preferably, I'd like at least one of them to be offense, but I'm fine with this. 33, you trade back into the 40s, recoup a third round pick. Yes, I'm cool with that. At 44, you get a safety. If Thieneman or McNeil Warren are there, absolutely. Halsey, I'm a little nervous on. He's a little tentative when he wants to come up and tackle. I want to watch a little bit more of him before I solidify, but I like attacking Thieneman or McNeil Warren. And then in the other four, Emmanuel Pregnon, absolutely. And yeah, Jacob Rodriguez, 100%. He's going to be your green dot. He's going to do all the things that Jamie and Sherwood couldn't do in terms of getting your players aligned, creating turnovers in your front seven. So this is a 9 out of 10 mock draft for me, Boss Girl. Absolutely. I'm totally on board with this.
Dylan, would you attack the safety position in free agency rather than the draft?
I would prefer they did that. Like if it came down to Caleb Downs or signing 2 safeties, I would just sign 2 safeties. I would rather them go after, I know Kevin Byard's a little older, but like Donovan Wilson's 31, Alohi Gilman from the Ravens is 29, Geno Stone is still 27. Cam Curl is 27. I would actually go Cam Curl because they've paid Quentin Lake already. So Cam Curl is the one who's kind of like left without a date or without a contract. I would go Cam Curl and Reed Blankenship, who Johnny Boy mentioned earlier. You have 2 27-year-old safeties, and then Malachi Moore is your third safety / backup nickel corner behind Jarvis Brownlee. Your roamer that can play nickel and dime. I'm 100% down with that.
And then you address later on the safety position.
Yes, you would get a fourth, like a day 3 safety, and then
I'm talking 27, 28 to
replace. Yes. If you want to go further down the line, absolutely.
Because now these guys will be with for a couple of years. You could draft someone 2027 to replace them.
Yeah, you get Curl on a 3-year deal. By the time he's 30, you already have that next guy in the pipeline. 100%. They need to prioritize safety because the last regime did not, and it actually frustrated me a lot.
You know what's going to be frustrating? Because you've been talking all of this, and they do totally everything opposite that we're talking about.
Oh, of course. They go quarterback at 2, and
that's it.
And then like off-ball linebacker at 16, like CJ Allen. It's not even Sonny Styles, it's CJ Allen. So yeah, they're gonna do something we're not even talking about, which is very Jets-like, but keeps us on our toes as people that love to talk about this team.
Tony Adams
Muji has somewhat of a brain in his head.
Muji does, yeah. And quite frankly, I think Aaron Glenn does too. And when it comes to talent evaluating, it's just everything else that comes with being a head coach. Like it kind of fell short in the year 1. So that's why I'm like more intrigued. Like, let's see what the improvements look like in year 2 before just cutting ties. Like if we're going to give Adam Gase 34 games with this franchise, we need to give Aaron Glenn 34 games with this franchise. Like, don't do the half season. Let's fire him if it's 0-5. No, if it's 0-5 and we know it's going to be bad, ride the storm out and just go whatever it is and then make your changes in 2027. Don't do the half measure after 5 or 6 games. Just please don't do that.
Well, now he's going to call his plays, which is similar to like an Andy Reid calling the offensive plays. The head coach is calling the plays on offense, and now this guy is calling the plays on defense, just like what's his name in Seattle.
They just
McDonald.
They just won, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think they just won.
I saw something on TV about it. So
they keep saying that he's like the first defensive head coach play caller. But I think Bill Belichick called plays in some of those Super Bowls.
A lot of them called plays.
But yeah.
And DTF from Snowball, I have to say this real quick because I was getting killed for it, but I was saying, wasn't Sherwood a safety? right?
Yes, he started off as safety.
Yes,
Converted
him and Hamza Nasruddin.
So you might have your safety there and potentially move him back, maybe as a depth piece, right? And kind of go from there. He doesn't fit maybe what they want anymore. I don't know. I just said that and I got killed. They were like, "Oh, he's too big now. You know, he doesn't done that."
You know, when you put him on the weak side, you can put a solid guy in this as to take over, do the same job that what's his name did, Mosley.
Yes, give
And
somebody
then
else.
he becomes what he did with Mosley and becomes more productive.
Yeah.
I think they just played guys out of position.
Yep.
Okay, and that was Wilkes' fault. They played guys; they were more read and react instead of attacking.
Yeah.
And that was the problem. These guys didn't know how to read and react. They were taught to attack.
The Miami games were just so brutal to watch.
Yeah. There was no pressure.
We're going to hit on every draft pick that we get. Everyone's going to be a hit. From what we've seen, if the trend is our friend, Muji and AG, chef's kiss. We got
A+ drafts.
Afro, we appreciate you coming on, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, go check out, if you get a chance, the beginning of this, because we are spinning.
I will. I still got to look at the Anton Staley one.
Oh yeah. But look, just to give you a little bit of a real quick look, right? This is DT's mock draft 2.0. He has Reese
this one, yeah,
going on, right? So you see who's going on. I'm gonna just give you 3 that I wanted. And this is for Black Gypsy because I told him I would let him know who are the people that I would want to go ahead and get. I might be a little bit crazy, but you know, I really never care what people thought about me. But I would love for us to get Tate second. Give me Lemon if he drops at 16, and then at that point you get a DT, and I'll probably get the kid from Ohio State in McDonald and go that route. And that's what I was talking about, Gypsy. With that being said, Afram, I appreciate you, man. It was always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure having you on here.
Same here.
And,
Snowball, have a safe trip.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Great to meet you, Afram.
Same here. You do a great job.
Thank you.
I see you a lot on Jake during the day. I don't come on because I'm at work and I can't have my face shown on TV while I'm working.
Well, hopefully in a couple weeks when I do a call-in show, you'll be available because it'll be in the afternoon time.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Have a great weekend.
You as well.
Happy Valentine's Day to your wives or your girlfriends.
I gotta wait till midnight.
What happens at midnight? You turn into a pumpkin.
I show her why they call me Jeremiah Love.
Yeah. A humpkin. More like a humpkin.
Something else turns into a pumpkin. All right.
Later, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Afram.
And
Johnny Boy, the humpkin.
There was 3, man.
There's another pumpkin reference, but I won't say that on air. Yeah. Anyway.
DT, look, man, it is always fun having you on here. I think we were all 3 of us were like, it'll be about an hour, right? We got about an hour. We got an hour, right? Like it'll be an hour. And, you know,
this is my fatal flaw, and I never mind it because I do it to myself. I always tell people, I'm like, yeah, like 35, 45 minutes. Is that cool? An hour and 57 minutes later, we're still sitting here, and I'm like, who cares about like whatever? My apartment could be on fire. I'm still gonna sit here and finish out the segment with you guys.
Just feel bad keeping him. That's all. But I love him here. I am
a single man in my 30s who is divorced, so I have literally nothing to do with my Friday nights. Like, it's cool.
Hey,
what a life!
This is it right here. And you know what? Hey, ladies.
Whoa, big screen.
My name is DT. I'm just here to let you guys know that I'm single, ready to mingle. And if you want to have some fun, come on over to Jets Worldwide. I'll let you know what's the deal. But if you want a little bit of the DT experience, come over and check out my channel because I'm on the road to 2K subs. And that being said, this is the Love Connection. Holla at me.
That was beautifully done. You got to be my date representative. Like, you got to be in my ear when I go on dates. You're like, okay, say this to her now, and then I think I'll land a girlfriend in no time.
Cyrano to Johnny Boy.
I'll tell you this right now, bro. We go out. You know, look, I'm married, so you know that ain't my style anymore. But
married men are the best wingmen,
dude. bro, by the end of the night, you're probably ending out with like 2 joints, all right? And you're having fun, and you're having one just, throwing herself on the fan. One is somewhere else. You're just having a blast, dog. Okay. So
I love it. I
hey,
gotta come hang out with you, Johnny boy.
hey. But with that being said, man, DT, where can everybody catch you? What can everybody get this great content that you're putting out? I mean, dude, you've been putting out a lot. Them videos that you're putting out are amazing.
I appreciate that. Yes, I put it in the chat, but right here at the bottom, Dylan Tereman, just type in my name on YouTube. It'll come up. We're doing the flagship show, which is the Dylan Tereman football show, the DTF show, Johnny boy. That's a nod to you. The DTF show. So that's the flagship program, which the audio only goes on the Believe in Jets feed, BLEAV in Jets. That is on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, anywhere you get your podcast, Google Podcasts. And then we also have Draft Talk with DT, which is obviously more draft-centric with a Jets perspective on it. I will do big boards, mock drafts, mock reactions where we go over other people's mock drafts like Connor Rogers, Field Yates, Todd McShay, and we react to the draft-centric stuff. So tons of ways to find the content, but at Dylan Tereman right here on the bottom. Catch me tomorrow, Atlantic Flight Podcast with Gus Toon. That'll be a pre-recorded. That'll hit your podcast feed probably Sunday or Monday. I have a special guest coming on tomorrow and for a pre-recorded episode with me in the Jets content space. So really excited to get him on. And then Sunday, yeah, you gotta show up and find out. Sunday morning is me and Boy Green at 7:30, and then 8 p.m. Sunday is me and Nick Shine time, rocking out with our mock out, and we're gonna do some kind of mock draft special for everybody. So the DT World Tour has just kicked off for this weekend, and come be a part of it.
And ladies, if you are looking for another show, the DT Night Tour will be coming to a YouTube theater near you. Just remember, he does his mock out, but sometimes it will be for another show, ladies.
I love it.
Hey,
I love it.
Are they going to be teams for this weekend? So, you like DT show and then like all the tour dates on the back.
Oh, dude, that would be so epic. Yeah, all the homies go on the tour date, the tour list. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be so cool. We got to get the t-shirts printed.
We'll do that.
It's big fella says Johnny, it's DT, not DP. Hey.
Well, we chose the DTF show for a reason. So
and if you're DTF, you know what that means.
Johnny will find you. Sorry.
Hey, but with that being said, guys, Snowball is heading to Hawaii. DT is got like 50 billion other shows to be on. We truly enjoy when you come on over here with us, DT. You kind of see the style that we try to provide. It's always fun with you, man. We literally said about an hour and it just went, but I mean,
it snowballed.
It really did, right? Shout out to Snowball. It's one of those where we really get into it. We start throwing a lot of different names like that are there, and we can start talking about the potential. But at the end of the day, hey, free agency has to come. And then I really feel like we'll have a better grasp on what we're going to do with the New York Jets. But with that being said, guys, this has been another Jets
Worldwide wide production.
And that is DT, ladies. And if you know what that means, hey, start the dancing, girl.
We started off as Titans, and now we're the Jets. The start of every season always starts with the sweats. Vinny T, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, what's the deal? Don't even try to tell me that the curse ain't real. We're coming for you, better run and hide. Snowball and Johnny boys, Jets worldwide. Why, yeah, boy. Like and subscribe. Fitzpatrick, the end of every season is always tragic. Doug Bryant just one twist. 15 years without the playoffs. Is Aaron Glenn legit?
We're the freaking New York Jets, and we're built for this shit.
We're coming for you. Better run and hide. Snowball and Johnny Boy, it's Jets worldwide. Yeah, boy. Like and subscribe.